Hey, you know how sometimes you look forward to something like the prom or like an event and you've been looking forward to it all week and then that thing comes and you're super disappointed and you're like, oh, it's not what I thought.
Is that now?
No, this is not going to be that. I'm saying this is not going to be that. I've been looking forward to this all week because it's a bit of a reunion and it's hard to get people together now, you know, with family and schedules. Going through people now, people all got like agents and shit now, so it's like it's so hard to get people together. We managed to do it today, and so there's 4 of us, and so I have some intros. The first person I want to introduce is his name is Andy Thompson, and he is a sorority girl, a nature lover, a coffee connoisseur, an influencer, and a victim. And I'll ask what he means by this, but that is his bio. Fun fact about Andy Thompson: he grew up in a small town, and he thought all Asian people knew kung fu. And so, growing up as a kid,
Actually, don't.
John Kim is a liar.
He's the only one he's trying to pass it on.
growing up as a kid, he was terrified of Asian people. And so, I think when I met with him, or when we collided about 14 years ago. He knew that I did burpees really fast, and I think he thought I was dangerous.
Yeah, I didn't think that it
wasn't
wasn't terrified of Asian people. It was in awe of the skill of the karate.
Got it.
Like, that was honestly a real thing. I mean, growing up back in the 80s, I think living a very sheltered bubble life, I thought because of TV, all Asians knew karate. And so whenever I went to public school and met my first Asian friend, right. I was like, that guy is the most dangerous guy in the room. I need to know this guy.
You were how old? 27?
And him and Tran, instant friends.
Yes. But I don't know any kung fu. You know what's ironic is Andy knows kung fu.
It's funny.
He throws those sticks and shit. You're really good at kung fu. Are there belts in kung fu?
It's irony, or if it's racist for you to think that it's surprising that he would know it.
Oh, it's a little irony or racism.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that in the American society, we like to put belts on things, but there's not any formal belts. Oh no, it's like I've been studying since 2002.
Yeah. So that was the bio Andy texted me. But in sincerity, he 15 years ago, he started a very small CrossFit box called CrossFit Hollywood at the time. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the place where all of us used to work out together. And then from that box, a lot of people went on to create other boxes. And I feel like your box spawned a lot of careers. Mm. Also, people got together.
People got married,
had babies.
Yeah.
Got divorced.
Yeah, it was like CrossFit High School.
That was serious, man.
Yeah, so that's how we all know Andy.
And some people have passed on, too. I was thinking about that the other day.
Oh, shit, you're right. A handful of people, not just 1 or 2.
Who?
Yeah. Like, Julie Adams.
Julie was one I was thinking of especially.
Right.
I remember she loaned me some money to help me start the business. Wow. It's like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she was one of the investors in the initial breakdown of having to scrape and grind to she was my client before I had CrossFit. She was a client at Gold's
in
Gym.
the park.
Not even in the park.
Before the park.
Yeah.
Wow. Andy started in the park.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Then we have Charlie Curtis. And I'm gonna do something kind of fun. I'm gonna let Andy tell us about Charlie Curtis.
I remember I didn't meet Charlie first. I met Erica first, and she brought you in. She's
I didn't know that.
Yeah. She came in and she did it as I think a novelty because she was with Lululemon at the time.
Yep.
And she came in to do like a group class, like the instructors came. She's like, I think that my boyfriend would really like this.
He was like $120 at the time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No,
Charlie, not the manly beast you see in front of you now.
No, Charlie was always kind of really fit, and he came in and he was like, this tall, buff guy, and immediately was beating everybody. It was kind of like one of those guys that was like, that guy's going to be good.
He's an animal.
But he had long hair. You remember?
Yeah. What was unique about Charlie was there were fast guys, and then there were strong guys. But I think Charlie was the first that was actually fast.
He was deadlifting over 400 pounds.
Right. So he was strong and he was fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Erica came home and she's like, "This shit sucks, but I think you're gonna like it, and the people are nice, so you got it."
Now here you are, all these years later.
Yeah,
Yep.
I loved it.
Man, that was fun.
Erica is Charlie's wife, and then they went on to create their own CrossFit box called Rec Center, right? Downtown?
Yep, downtown. We started that in, 2011, and just shut it down early on in COVID, but basically trying to replicate CrossFit Hollywood. Community, the programming, the coaches, all of it. So we ran that for about 9 years. And I've transitioned to just virtual stuff now. I have a private training studio I train clients out of, an app, and I don't know, can't get out of the fitness world.
Well, you're also creating a new gym, correct?
I just finalized the moving process this week.
Wow.
So it's there, done. It's
Studio City?
awesome. Studio City.
So let me ask you this. What made you want to open a new gym? Did you miss community? Did you miss elements of what you had at Rec Center or CrossFit Hollywood that you wanted to create again for yourself? Or what made you want to open another gym?
Yeah, I mean, I had another space downtown. When I closed the CrossFit gym, it was just kind of survival. I needed a space to work out of. I had a online virtual community I did live classes with, so I needed a physical space. And then I've been able to kind of maintain a private training business while doing the virtual stuff. So I love it. I love meeting with people, being with people in person. So I don't want to get rid of that, even though there's the virtual option. But yeah, I love the community part.
What's going to be different about this gym? Or is it not going to be different?
The location.
Just location.
Yeah.
And finally, we have Nick Gonzalez, and I actually have a legit.
You don't have to read that bio. I thought it might just help.
He's best
you
known
along
for
the
his
way.
portrayal of the charming and okay, he's an actor. Everything from The Good Doctor to Jane the Virgin to most recently La Brea. I'll be watching TV. I rarely watch TV, but sometimes I'll be watching TV and I'll see you. I'm like, oh my God, there's Nick, and like I feel like you're
Hopefully,
in
that's the way it's supposed to work.
That's the
man.
goal.
It's
That's the
residuals,
goal.
You're usually
everything.
behind a bar, you're doing something.
Usually behind.
There was something where you
or at a bar, maybe.
but
I love
you've
bartenders.
been working for now. Have you been working this long since we met, or has your career kind of exploded?
I was really fortunate. I moved. I graduated early from college. Was like, I got to get to LA, race down, and move to Venice, and didn't know anyone. But it was a Texas boy like this guy, but from a little bit of a bigger town, San Antonio. But never thought acting was in my future. Anyway, fast forward to found it in college, moved down to LA, and that was 1998.
Wow.
And by 99, I had shot a pilot that we would go on to shoot for the consecutive 3 years called Resurrection Boulevard, which was the first Latino primetime series. And I played I was a boxer and medical student and kind of the center of some of the story of the show, but like a really incredible cast. And for me, that was kind of my learning ground. And so, yeah, I've been doing it consistently since 1998. And then I think fully without anything else on the side since 99. Thankfully, it's been a long road.
Yeah.
So, I grew up in LA, and there have been a lot of actors and people in entertainment, and they say that if you could just do acting and not do anything else, I mean, that's success. Meaning, like, you're actually not having to go get other type of work.
Well, it's so hard to be a working actor and rely just on that. So that, yes, if you can, in many ways, that's considered success. I mean, it's one of the largest labor unions with with the most people that aren't working, the most unemployed.
Right.
So I think it's something crazy low as the percentage of. It's not even half of the members that are working.
Wow.
So
You're
it's tough.
also now producing and getting into production with your wife, right? So you're not just acting, but now you're acquiring projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's been really interesting. I mean, I think I resisted for so long working with her because I was telling the guys earlier is she's just so good at everything, like as far as organizing and just pushing through ideas. She plans to be creative. Me, it has to like hit me, but she's like, okay, between here and here, I'm getting this done, and she'll do it. Wow. And that goes from like writing scripts to hatching a plan on how we're going to get all the kids over there while we're filming and funneling through the grandmas and the nanny and like how we're going to make these things work. And each time we move to a new city, she's the one jumping in. So getting into business with her, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to work. I can't get away like the way I do things. Right. I'm a different guy when she's not around, on the work in the sense of like how much time I'm putting into things. I mean, I waste so much time, I guess, that if she were to see that in my own hours when I'm alone, she would be like, how do you even get anything done? Like, I almost don't want her to know.
And then Andy, you recently got married, and this is going to be the bridge into the conversation that I want to have. So what's really cool about this, and also you guys, and kind of following you guys on social, met you guys like, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago, and then being able to see the character arc. So we are all now fathers, right? We all, either have a mortgage, we have wives, we're all adulting now, right?
I think it was fun. It's funny because I was just thinking about that while we were setting up. I was like, wow.
We all also look pretty amazing. I gotta say, we don't look horrible. We're not, buying Corvettes and with big, like, not to judge aesthetics, but
I had a Corvette. Really weird right
now. Like the midlife crisis, but maybe because we're all kind of into fitness and stuff. Yeah.
That's a massive factor.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. We're not like.
I don't think it's a coincidence that we all got addicted to CrossFit around 2008 for me, but all of us around roughly the same time. And
it's kind of funny. There was a big energy, big passion back then.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really cool people, which I'm sure a lot of us are still in contact with. Which is really cool.
My sister married one.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. No,
someone from the gym, from CrossFit Hollywood.
He was one of the first park guys. Yeah.
Is it arrogant to say that we look good? Charlie, you get it all the time. He's used to it.
I think it's fine to say.
I think it's okay.
I think it's healthy to say that you're proud of how you are.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Because right when I said it, I thought, oh, that's kind of an arrogant thing to say, and also I didn't want us to be like the skeleton guys in the Karate Kid. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Cobra Kai?
Yeah. Cobra Kai. Yeah. I kind of picture like the cool kids at CrossFit Hollywood that were kind of.
We were more machios.
I was definitely more
scrappy. I think
I think I was Mr. Miyagi.
Totally.
Yeah.
I say we. I'm the only Ralph Macchio of the group. Everyone's like,
okay. Andy and Charlie were definitely the skeleton dudes.
Yeah, these guys are definitely on some Johnny.
People. Yeah.
They were Johnny vibes.
Dude, that movie. I gotta go watch that tonight.
So Andy and I, we do a Monday man chat, and it's not recorded; it's just private. And we always start with an opening question. And the question I wanted to start today with, just jumping into the deep end of the pool, what is life / the universe confronting in you these days?
Whoa.
Okay, just think about it. These days, what is life / the universe confronting in you?
I know.
Who wants to go first?
I will. It's a big one for me because I feel like it's all happening right now. It happened on the drive here. I think there comes a time when I don't want this to come out the wrong way because I don't feel like it's a detriment. It's not things have to die for something else to live. And there's a past that has to change in the way, because we were what we had to look out for most of our lives, Then we finally got married and there's someone else that you can, look after, but barring rest of close family, but you are your first and foremost thought. And to finally have someone else and, children that you can, it's about them. And now I can pull this focus off of myself, which has gotten like, I'm so tired. I'm so over me from the way that I've been and that I've known me, that I'm so much more excited about getting to know this me who's fired up about these kids and showing them the world, whereas I thought I'd seen everything, and now I'm like, oh, it is new again. This is interesting again. This is cool. I don't have this kind of cynical feeling that I thought I had, that kind of cynical humor that we had in the 90s into the early 2000s. Like, I carried that all this far, and then I started saying, this isn't serving me anymore.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like what's confronting me is leaving this guy behind. I think guys have a hard time. They're like, well, I don't do this anymore. Oh man, that was your time to do it.
Yeah.
That was life. It doesn't mean there's not things for yourself.
Holding on to the old.
Holding on to certain things about like the way we used to party at, CrossFit Hollywood, or the way that those things like that, those were great. Those were amazing, carefree days.
Yeah.
But those days are past now. And they're different days that are magical for totally different reasons. But I feel we hang on to that. And I'm not trying to get all, this is literally what I'm feeling each day. And the more I can let something go that it's not even what I'm into anymore anyway, but this certain echo of this this nostalgia or something in the back calling me to like, oh, what's now missing? I don't know. It's what's in front of me is just too great with these little lives. So I'm
Dude, what a great reminder. As you're saying that, I'm thinking about, I still 14 years later chased the leaderboard. And I still take it seriously, man. I'm like driving. I'm like, I'm fucking 50. Why do I care about my Fran time?
Most of us don't even do CrossFit anymore.
I'm so embarrassed.
Honestly,
Speaking of holding on to the old. But yeah, that's a really big topic, man. I think as men, holding on to old definitions, what a man looks like, all that stuff. So what I hear you saying is life now confronting you in a way where you're forced to let go of who you were, I guess, and kind of lean into who you're becoming as a dad.
And I'm not the most important. Is it important to take care of me, first?
Yeah.
Of course. I got to be able to function at a high level to be able to do everything. But it's still hard getting over that and realizing, and that colors every interaction with, my wife too. Because they're hardwired immediately, these children.
Yeah.
Right. And I felt an immediate them too, but that also was a collision with, ego me, who's all about Nick and what Nick's doing. I mean, my career it's me. I'm selling, that's the hard part too. There's no rest from it. And now there is.
Wow.
Feels like.
Charlie, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel the same way. I mean, kind of creating a new and different life where I'm not the focus.
Yeah.
I'm also an only child, single mom. Like I was just the focus.
Your mom is actually a really nice lady.
She's pretty nice.
She messes me on occasion.
Yeah, she'll message.
Your mom likes you, by the way. And your
messages you.
Yeah, occasionally she's like, that's a great picture.
You said she matches with me occasionally.
Your mom's
You're still in the apps, buddy.
Hey, real quick, by the way, moms now messaging our friends via social media is like a thing.
It's the best.
Oh my God.
Oh, my mom's like.
His mom might like,
totally.
Yeah.
My parents are really excited to meet you, John. Anyway.
I know, my mom thinks he's a celebrity.
Yeah, so it's just, I'm so used to, like Nick was saying, looking out for myself and doing, if I wanted it, that was top priority.
Right.
Even at the expense of other relationships or other things, but just I was the number one focus. And even early on in kids, I wasn't able to enjoy it as much because it was taking away from me. And it was more, I mean, I did enjoy it, but I wasn't able to kind of accept this new kind of spot in my life where that was the new me moving forward. I was just holding on to this idea that I got to get this stuff done so that I can focus back on me. And just like, I got to get through this to-do list with these kids, take care of these responsibilities, take care of my relationship, just so that I can get back to my time. And so the last couple of years for me, and still continuing to this day, is just trying to kind of accept and move on to this new life that I have. That's not any better or worse, but it's different. It's a new phase. It's just a spot that I'm at. And trying to balance both and, still find the time to take care of myself and the things I need, but also realize that I love and enjoy, my family time and other relationships that, I need to prioritize those as well.
What's your answer when it comes to what is life confronting in you these days?
Time, like a lack of time, it just seems like time flies by. I have so many things that I need to get done. And I spend a lot of time stressing about those things as opposed to just doing what I can and enjoying the process, that I end up wasting more time. I feel like it's passing quicker because I'm so worried about, getting things done or a to-do list or responsibilities. But it's really just time. Everything's flying by.
With this new gym, do you is it activating things in you? Like second time around, or are there things? I mean, it has to be stirring things in you.
Yeah,
good and bad,
I love the stress of a deadline. That works for me.
Sure.
And so up until this whole last week, Erica was out for a work trip and then gone, and I had the kids. And there's something invigorating about going to get a moving truck at 5 p.m. and loading all the shit up and scrambling and getting it over and unloaded by midnight and doing it all again the next day. Like there's something about a time crunch, a do or die type situation that I enjoy. It's not quite the same as opening like my CrossFit gym or something where there's a that feeling, but on a financial end, because it's basically my same. Nothing will change on a business end, but I do like that. Starting new page.
Yeah.
It's close to home too, so it's just going to help. It'll now just balance out everything time-wise.
It's close to my home too.
Yeah.
It's my coming very handy.
I think you're going to get a lot of people who you've run into in the past, just because the Studio C is such a central location.
Yeah. Yep. And we live there, so it's just so many people I meet or bump into or catch up with. That, you know, downtown is far.
Roll studs go to die, man.
That's
The
right.
Valley.
The Valley.
Just joining with the rest of us.
I will be there forever.
Andy, what is, especially as a husband now, what is life confronting in you?
I had a little bit of time to think about this.
Oh, he gave you the question.
I gave you
early.
time.
I know. I got.
Or else I get answers like influencer,
I know.
cheerleader, what is sorority
ballet
girl.
dancer.
First thought was,
Yeah.
okay, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie's coming out, and I don't know whether or not I want to see it because of the fact it's animated. That was the first initial thought.
Andy at heart is
This
the
universe is
nerd, which
confronting
why
you.
we love him so much.
I was really
Yeah.
running into a hard wall there.
I'm glad you didn't. That wasn't your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No, I think it's newer for me. These guys have kids that are a
Yes.
little older.
Yes.
and
Charlie's kid's
they-
almost
and
is
they've
9.
been married for
Yeah.
longer. And this is all like brand spanking new for me. And so right now, I think the biggest thing in my life is trying to figure out how to juggle it all and make time for balance of my life and family and work without just running myself into the ground to the point where it's like, okay, I need a week off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think that in itself, I mean, I had a conversation with Malia last night about
His wife.
scheduling. Yeah, the wife.
I mean, just trying to get here, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We were trying to navigate the schedules and be like, hey, I got a hard stop at 2:00 because I got to be home by 3. It's
Have
like,
fun.
Yeah.
In your-
It's like there's certain
Sectioned
things like
off.
that where I think navigating the schedule and being a lot more vocal, because before having a kid, before being married, being single and everything like that, it's like whenever you want to do something, you just do it.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
if the
Yeah.
business calls and they
Yeah.
need somebody to come in, it's like, I'll just go in right now.
Right.
Yep.
And now it's like the other day, I was supposed to cover for somebody, and all of a sudden, I realized that Malia's gone. She's in Santa Barbara
Oh,
that day,
right.
and I don't have anybody to babysit. And I have an 11-month-old boy who is, you know, he's not going to be able to stay up past 6 p.m.
Right.
And so it's like, and I was like, okay, I got to cancel the classes. And I was like, luckily somebody covered the class. But the point is that I'm figuring out how that I need to be very vocal about everything, especially my schedule
Yeah.
right now. Scheduling and time is really my crux in my life right now.
When you work for yourself, I mean, you're the last, you know, no one else is going to take care of it. And so once it comes
Nope.
down to it,
Dude, it's crazy.
There's one thing I don't miss is scheduling, and you're the last line of defense when something needs to get done. You can call the people, but at the end of the day, it falls on you, and it's a lot.
So when you and Malia had a kid, the first thing I thought was, you guys live for adventure. You know, you guys are always surfing, rock climbing, fitness, and I thought, holy shit, what are they gonna do? When,
It's gonna throw a
because
wrench in the
it's
in the
more than a
spokes.
wrench, man. I mean, it's like it's a completely new life. I think you guys have been doing it really well. And then on top of that, now you're married, and so is there pressure to that, or is that to you just not that big of a deal?
No, I mean, it was actually really exciting.
Not that it's not that big of a deal.
No,
but I'm
don't
saying
set him
just-
up like
yeah,
that.
No, I was actually really excited. There was no sort of like, no, at all. There was never even for a moment. Like I've always kind of secretly wanted to be a dad, and so whenever it happened, it was like, yes, this part of my life goals is now coming to fruition, because I also accepted that might not ever happen. And so I was like, okay, I can't put happiness into that, because if it doesn't happen, I don't want to be that person and be like, no, I'm miserable because that never happened.
Right.
So that it happened, it was like this really exciting thing. And so, yeah, I have had to put stuff on pause for a little bit. but it doesn't make me sad. In fact, it's like whenever those times come, whenever I do get to go rock climbing, or I do get to go camp, or I get to go surf or whatever, it's like, all right, I'm really looking forward to this, just like I did in the past. But now it's like it's almost like I get
it's a treat.
It's a treat. Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different change. You got to change it from being, I think, a negative thought to being a positive, and that in itself is an art. And I know that, like, if you constantly are thinking in the positive state, that turns into a Ted Lasso, which is admirable.
Well, they always say, like, just saying like I have to versus I get to,
right,
changes just
That's
your
the
mentality. And
Yeah,
it's like,
totally.
I was stuck in, I have to go watch, one of my sons, or have to take, instead of like, I get to go do this every day. I get to go take him to baseball and
just
throw
that
1,000.
simple
Yeah.
word
Yeah.
change. It can change a lot.
But the other night, my 6-year-old, she's famous for whoever asked her to come in and read the book. They know they're going to be in there because she won't let them leave after the book. And she's like, "No, sleep with me a little bit." And then you end up falling asleep. And then your only time after the kids are asleep, you've now like fallen asleep in her bed for 2 hours. You're like, I can't even wake up right now. So by the time you get back to your bed, like, your night's done. You're going to bed. So she's like the black hole. You go over there. But what I found is, I used to be like, right, Ever, if you don't stop talking, lay down, and she'll let me tickle her back, she'll rub her head. But if you don't do that, then Dad is leaving. I'm leaving. 5 minutes, you don't do that, I'm leaving. And then I started thinking about it. And maybe I read something, I don't even remember, but it was like, there are going to be times that I wish she wanted me to snuggle up with her in bed. Mm-hmm. How long is that going to last? How many years do I really have of that? Of her wanting that time, and for us to be staying up late. It's already past 8:30, she's in bed by hopefully just after 7. And yet here we are talking into the night. She's asking me stuff while we're watching her stars, glow under her bed. Yeah. Like, this is magic. And if quick. I look at it that way, it's a different thing altogether.
Ace is almost 9, and it's like, it's quick, where he won't want me around to do all the things. I won't be asking for extra stories or extra time. And
he's gonna be embarrassed of what you're listening to when you go pick him up from school.
Yeah, and it's quick, and I can see just how quickly, because Wilder's 5, and he's still like, wants me there for everything. But I can, it's quick, and then it's easy to just, and we do the same thing. Like, God, I don't want to read another book. I want to go watch the show, the one show I watch every week, all this stuff. But you can do that later,
It just doesn't. When you really think about it, it doesn't compete.
Mm-hmm.
Was your mom a single mom raising you?
Yep.
So, do you have any relationship with Dad, or zero?
That's an interesting story. So, I haven't talked to my dad since 2008. Mm-hmm. Saw him a little bit off and on growing up. He lived out of state, and I actually just went. He lives in Key West, and I was down there for my Formula One podcast at the race, and drove down and saw him for the first time in 15 years.
Wait, what made you do that? Because you were there and you felt it?
No, and actually the race was kind of secondary. I was going to go anyway. It was something I wanted to do. I haven't talked to him, not even on the phone or nothing, in 15 years. And it was just like in the back of my mind, like, I don't want this. I don't want it on my mind. I want to, if he's over it and doesn't want to ever talk to me, I want to know at least I reached out.
Sure.
I closed that connection, and that's it. So I've been thinking about doing it and always putting it off, for 2 years, and finally went and did it. So it was great.
No, I know. Dude, this huge lead up.
I shot him down.
And then I'm just going to
Oh my God. Wait, so what was, you haven't seen him in 15 years. Yep. So how did he respond? What did you guys talk about? What was it like?
I mean, I didn't really want to have a conversation first. So I called him and just said, I'm coming down. This is Charlie. I'm going to be coming down there. I'd love to get together, see you, whatever. And so we got down there, and he came to the hotel. We had lunch. And, my expectation, I didn't want to have any expectations. Right. I didn't want it to go a certain way. I didn't want to have a script. I didn't want to have any talking points, nothing like that. Because I just didn't know how it was going to go. So it was very, very easy. It was as if nothing had ever happened. Nothing, just like picking up. And we got in a big fight, and basically it was well, fuck you, I'm out. So it was just like nothing happened, which was satisfying and very dissatisfying at the same time.
Wait, was it dissatisfying because it felt kind of things pushed under the rug? Or
a little bit, yeah, but also satisfying in that, like, okay, I can accept that that's where it's at. I don't need anything. I don't need it like I might have needed an apology or some kind of acknowledgement 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, mostly my mom. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: who was your? Did you have a male role model growing up that you looked up to?
Yeah, I had a great neighbor friend, family friend that, you know, did all the sports stuff with me. He was always around. My grandfather, he died when I was a sophomore in high school, but until then, like, he did everything, all the sports, he was around a ton. Yeah.
Wow.
What about your dad? Because your dad passed.
Yeah,
when you were
I
young.
can kind of relate to that, and not on the same level, because I never knew my dad, and so I had a stepdad from 3 on, but I was constantly looking for a male role model, and as having a support figure there was nice, but it wasn't something that I aspired to be like. It wasn't like, okay, this is dad, but at the same time, I was still looking for something to admire, and not that I didn't admire him, it just wasn't the same, like in terms of a father figure or something that so yeah, and I look at that, and I look at my friends who are fathers and are present in their children's life, or I have friends that are able to reach out to their dad and things like that, and there's a lot of times where I stop and be like, huh, interesting. I wonder what that would have been like. And so I can kind of relate on that level. And it's not that I'm not like sad about it, because I didn't know any better, but at the same time, there is curiosity there, and a curiosity that carries over into my own relationships of now I'm that which I didn't have. And so I don't really know exactly how I want to show up. It's almost like I'm kind of paving a road. I'm like, I just hope I do this right.
Yeah.
And a dad who passed.
Be what you needed, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But a dad who passed is a little different than a dad who didn't show up or wasn't there, because there's choice involved. And I think with you, there was a hero to your dad, because, you put the 86 on your neck, which was his dirt bike.
Right. His number. Yeah.
He rode dirt bikes.
Yeah.
He seemed like a really cool, adventurous guy. And so even though you didn't know him, it
puts him on a pedestal.
Yeah,
but it makes him inhuman, and so you think of him as this perfect being. And so my life's quest has been to find out what his flaws were.
Right. Your mom could tell you.
And your mom
could tell you. She's got a list, man.
No, she honestly, I'm like,
she's like, I ain't gonna lie to you. He was a badass, son.
Tell me,
he was
did
cool.
He like snored and what was like? He breathed through his mouth or something? Like, tell me something, But she's like, no, he was great. She's kind of vague too. I'm like, I gotta like pull teeth to get anything out of that one. So it's funny.
What's your relationship like with your dad, Nick?
Pretty great. But growing up, I was raised mostly by my mother. My father was in the military. They divorced when I was 4. And I had an older brother who was kind of the guy I'd look up to, but we were enough years apart that very quickly I, became annoying to him. We spent a lot of time still together with family, but so I guess it's funny because people would ask me, and I'd look back and go, oh, I had a great childhood. My parents were divorced, but if you asked me, I didn't really know. It meant I had 2 houses, and that's the way I thought about it. But I think as I've gotten older, I started to think more and look at the patterns I've had with relationships and things, and not to blame, because we still are, a power of what we do. We have so many things around us telling what's right, regardless of the models we were shown, and yet we still emulate. My dad has always been a hero to me. He's, West Point grad, Army Ranger, airborne, became a physician. Just a really smart, very like an awesome coach, taught us soccer, taught us, how to ride bikes, scuba dive, so many things that made me interesting. Yeah. Well, so many things that I thought interesting, or made my life interesting, or made my college application look good, were things that came from my father, I thought, and then a lot of it was also the resilience of my mother, who was such a hard worker and just put her kids first and put her boys first. And my sister was born much later. She was born when I was 10 and my brother was like 15. Right. So my brother so very soon my brother left to college. I left to live with my dad when he moved back into town after, years away, and that was hard, because she was like, oh, is everyone leaving me, and she has her own things, I'm sure, growing up with some of that, but and we had different fathers. So I had a stepfather who came around from the time I was like 9, I think, or 10, but I wasn't ready to listen to him. He was the other guy, and he was the one that was in the way, and why my parents wouldn't get back together. And he would tell my brother and I to do something. We're like, yeah, whatever, Vance. Yeah, heard you call me Dad. Yeah, okay, Vance. Whatever, Peter. And but now that I look at it, I had mentors. San Antonio's full of Latinos that were achieving in a high level. We ran the city council. The mayor was Latino, but for me, it was. I was still chasing the shadow of my dad. I think of this. He was this badass that drove a convertible and was all this Army Ranger Airborne. I thought I was going to do all the same stuff. And I mean, he just had a way. I mean, when you look at what I did on like something like The Good Doctor, and my character who's known for being a real hard ass, that was my dad. Yeah, that was my dad and my brother. That was a mixture of them. And my dad was like, I tell you something to do, all I want to see is assholes and elbows. Meaning, I want you down there working, and you were numbnuts, and like all the different things. And
I'm gonna steal this from my daughter.
Me a lot.
Assholes and elbows. Assholes and elbows.
He taught me a lot, but he also probably taught me about some of the darker sides of marriage and infidelity. And for a long time, I thought a notch on the belt was a thing to brag about. That was an achievement. So to me, that was a big thing. And I don't know, because I think my dad used to, there were women around and people he was dating, and we saw all that. And
was he old school? Like, is there a lot of machismo in your culturally? Because there is for me, being Korean.
Yeah, I think I've whittled that down as we've gone on. But I mean, we all now say I love you, trying to get off the phone. My brother and I, it's a more new thing. But, with my dad, it's always, and, we've always been very loving. But I think my brother had a tougher time with my dad growing up. Yeah. Like, my dad was even harder than, he was a real strict disciplinarian.
My dad used to yell from across the room to my mom, "Hey, get me a glass of water." And I'm thinking like, God, I can't even imagine saying that now, or even the response I would get. But
I just wouldn't get a response. There'd be nothing.
for months there would be nothing. Probably. Yeah.
Like she wouldn't even hear it. It just, if I said, "Give me a glass of water,"
like, who are you talking to?
It would go in one ear out the next. There'd be nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. It's a different time, and I think my parents grew up poor. My dad was never around, never taught me anything, never taught me, how to play any sports.
No kung fu.
Bench warmer, no kung fu. He didn't know any martial arts. And so what I remember of my dad is like silly things. Like he used to, Koreans have this little stick that you put in your ear. They're like Q-tips, but they're like wooden spoons. And I remember I was like 9, and I would lay in his lap, and he would fucking clean my ears out. And that, like, it's sad, but like that's the memory I have of my dad.
Wow.
Or like he would be clipping his toenails while I was like trying to make a model plane.
He's like, "Hey, go pick those up for me. and give me some water while
you're." He would say like, "Oh, you can't build that. I'm just wasting my money." And I remember like desperately trying to put 1,000 popsicle sticks together, and of course I couldn't do it. But this is why I can't fucking climb inside of rocks and stuff. Traversing. I had no skills. Was taught nothing. But my point, I guess, is saying is that we live in a fatherless nation, and what's interesting is to see the byproduct of not having a dad. Whether in my case he was emotionally absent. He was there every day, but he's emotionally absent, or physically gone. And then kind of what happens to a man as they become fathers because they didn't have a father. If father wasn't present, So it's really interesting to hear you guys' stories and also see you guys as dads. I also wonder if we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, maybe too much, to be like a super dad. If we're not present for a minute, we're really down on ourselves because we're so not wanting to be the kind of dad that wasn't there for us. Taking a black light to ourselves as dads.
I don't want to see mine just on the weekends. I know that. A lot of what my dad was led to that, and 4 wives, and that's I'm hell bent on. I want to provide a home for them and be around them all the time, and this is too precious. This time is just flying by.
Yeah.
Is your dad still around?
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah.
Are you close with him?
I am. Yeah, we just talked on the way here.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Charlie, that was my question. You have a question you want to ask us? I want to kind of rotate. Everyone gets a question, and we kind of round table. So mine was, what is life confronting in you these days? What would be yours?
I guess for me, it's been actually in a week my 10-year anniversary, wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Andy's been there.
I was there.
You were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
Ace Hotel, man. That was great.
I saw the pics.
Yeah. And I guess everyone's kind of at different stages and
Wait, 10 years of marriage, but you guys have been together a lot longer.
forever. Yeah.
High school, college, yeah.
Yeah. Essentially forever.
Right.
How has like becoming a dad, a professional, whatever it may be, advancing a career, how has that affected your relationships, and how have you kind of kept them off the back burner with everything else going on?
Wow.
Relationship with wife or
Yeah.
wife and life?
Yeah.
Wife.
John Kim, you're up first.
Fuck. You know what has been difficult is after having a child, witnessing what a woman goes through as far as being touched out. And then so one of the things that we, I think we're coming out the other side of this, is me wanting to feel desired, wanting sex, wanting intimacy like it was before Logan, without realizing, you know, she just had a baby and her relationship with self and all that. Yeah, so feeling not desired, not feeling satisfied, putting pressure on her to have sex with me, do things, that's been a struggle. And then on her side, because she has, you know, Logan constantly at her leg, and then now she has her partner wanting things, she just wants to be kind of left alone, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think as far as relationships, the toughest has been the adjustment of laying new tracks when it comes to intimacy, love, sex, what that looks like post baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds like, you know how it's like you had an old pet and then you got a puppy.
Yeah.
And the old pet's like,
Yeah.
throw their hands up in the air and be like, what am I now? Chop liver?
Oh, you're the old pet in this.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out who was
who's
what.
the old pet?
John Kim's the old pet. And then, you know, Logan's the puppy.
If Malia's the old pet, you don't say old pet. You're the old pet guy. Yeah. I figured that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like not a conscious thing, but it's the easiest relationship, the one I'm most subconsciously comfortable with putting on the back burner or giving the least amount of attention to.
Yeah.
This is the relationship with you.
With Erica, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the one I know I can, it's there, it's solid, and it's the easiest one to not put adequate time into.
Yeah.
The kids, obviously, I can't miss a second. They're changing daily, weekly, monthly. It's like something new all the time. Work and business and doing all that is always time sensitive. And that's the one relationship with my wife that's like, I'm not choosing to do it, but it's like, I think in my mind, I know, oh, that's going to be fine. I can get to that later.
See, that's what I thought. We've been together 10 years, but only been married 7. And I kind of just thought, well, hey, we know about this, right? So and we can focus on this because obviously this is coming at us really fast and constant, right? And the whole way we're along, and I feel like we're together until she turned to me and was like, I still want you to date me, you know? I want you. I was like,
right.
Well, yeah. I mean, because I'm like you, you know. I want all that. I want intimacy. I want date. Like, yeah, I'm okay. Well, let's get babysitters. Let's do all. You know, like that to me is always what I wanted. But I always kind of felt like, well, isn't this stuff more important? And you know, all the things with the kids. And of course, you're tired, and I want you to be rested. And we're all trying to stay healthy. And one gets sick, and then so it's just this constant, you know, juggle. But I did think that, well, that was okay. And we were fine. And to realize that, well, now I have to romance her all over again. Not that I like being that.
Yeah.
But I kind of thought, well, we just kind of agreed that, oh, yeah, all this is going on. But, oh, now I have to romance you to make you want to feel like you want to be intimate with me. Whereas it's like, can't you just see like I'm doing everything? And
you
know, I'm
checked
like,
off my
and
to-do
everything's
list,
clean. And like,
everything's
you know, because
clean.
that's what I think the love language is. So I'm cleaning up, you know, each night our kitchen is spotless and everything. So you can come in the morning and it's clean, and it's just like, look what I'm doing.
Yep.
And
doing things with a payback, doing things with expectations. What we're talking about.
Well, and then it's not like you're just doing an expectation; they have to know that, but you're still just doing it all and thinking, camera's not seeing all this stuff.
But this is enough type thing.
Yeah, or if I'm super dad, then they're gonna be like, "Come here, you sexy woman."
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, because it's different for everyone. So, Charlie, in your case, what would working on your marriage even look like? What would it look like to actually put the marriage, even above the kids? What would that even look like?
With my kids, I'm constantly thinking about what I want my role to be as their dad. And it's a combination of what I wanted, what I think I wanted, things that I got from my mom that I want to pass on to them. I'm constantly thinking about how I am present for them as a dad.
Yeah.
And I think it's just as simple as thinking about that as a husband too.
Right.
So not necessarily anything drastic, but just thinking about it. Just how do I want to show up for this relationship too? Mm-hmm. And that can be the things like cleaning up the kitchen if I know that makes her day better, or seeing she needs extra time to go, spend on herself, planning things for us. I guess thinking about it more.
But what's really important there, though, is what you're exactly right. But what I didn't see too was the idea of looking at the way I was looking at things. As much as I was getting everything done and all that, I was still looking at life a little more pessimistically. I was a little more cynical, and when things would come up, I'd be like, yeah, but what about this? Or I was always the voice of reason. And I realized, like, less of me having to be the protector. How am I going to be somebody that she wants to be around? Yeah, I can be doing all that for you. I think, not to call my sister out, but she, I think one of her issues with her father is that he's such like a caretaker, that he's always trying to take care of her, that it's less of like, well, how are you? And, asking about the deeper stuff in life rather than like, did you pay those parking tickets? Did you do this? Like, that's how he takes care of things. And for me, realizing is like, it's also about changing a little bit of who I am. And if I've kind of gotten by on this kind of cynical way of going through life, like that's only so nice for people. And you can be like, brag about it and say, well, my wife is such a ray of light and she's enough for two of us. And I grumpily go through things and she apologizes for me. That, it wasn't cute and hasn't been for years.
One thing I'm also learning is if you're able to pull back and look at your resistance. For example, so in this case, me talking about for wanting more sex or wanting sex to be like before or whatever, instead of pointing the finger and try to grab and control your partner to do something, if you start exploring why, well, my dad was an alcoholic, I'm very impulsive, for like with food, if I like imagine a Big Mac, that it's going in my stomach that day, no matter what. I don't care how far it is, like it's happening, right? And so she's not like that at all, right? So taking ownership of my my addictions, right? And sex may be one of them, right? So looking at that honestly, because when we look at things through our own eyes, we think that's the standard, but it may not be true. So a lot of this has been me analyzing. I don't know about analyzing, just exploring myself, where the urges are coming from, and what I could take ownership of. And I realized that if I don't do that, then I'm grabbing instead of holding. If I do that, then I'm holding, and then naturally what happens is I get what I want, meaning she does come around, and we do have a lot of things that I don't give her credit for because I expect her to do these things or on my timeline or like that kind of stuff. So I think taking ownership, looking at self, it's been huge for me in our relationship, to pull back and see truth instead of see everything through my eyes, But relationships are fucking hard. Once you throw kids in the mix and then you want to build a business, like there's not enough time in the day.
We're so comfortable coexisting. Like we've got our systems, our kind of unspoken roles of things we get done, responsibilities, routines, and like I know the list of things she's going to take care of at the house, and she knows the list that I'm going to do, and we are very good at just coexisting.
Is there danger in that though?
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And that's what I mean. It's like, and so it's easy for it to just, that relationship to be on autopilot, because for us, we don't need to communicate or interact much to get all our shit done.
Right.
And that is too comfortable, I think, at times. And it's not giving enough attention to that relationship. Just because it functions doesn't mean it's always great, you know?
Yeah.
That's really interesting that, you know, because from what I know, both of you guys are high achievers. You guys get, you know, a lot of stuff done. And I could see that your marriage being kind of a well-oiled machine with functions and juggling everything. And if that is the default, stretched over time, spontaneity, things, you know, that we find when we are first dating someone and everything's new, all of that can kind of slowly fade. Yeah. And it's just like you know, pistons of an engine, you know, just. And it's all, and there's always a good excuse. We've got other things going on, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense, but it's too comfortable almost, and too routine, too habitual. Hey, Nick, fun fact. Did you know that if a woman sleeps 1 hour longer a day, just 1 hour, her arousal is wanting to connect and then be intimate with you goes up, I think, 14%.
No, it doesn't.
I'm always the first one up with the kids these days.
No,
please,
like,
I want
well,
you to
I'm
sleep.
not, so I
want you to feel good. I want you to
give her an hour to sleep, and thing comes around.
We got blackout curtains all of a sudden.
I mean, we're getting 8 hours right now, man. We're running out of excuses here.
All right, Nick, what's your question for us? And then we're going to end with Andy.
Gosh, I don't know. These are all so... I think what I keep bumping up against or what's resonating with me just listening is, you know, what I want to be for my children as far as what kind of man, like you know, it's the intentional fallacy, right, of what we want them to see us as. So we tell them things, or, you know, but they're watching everything. They're watching every single little mannerism. When my son copies something, the way I do my mouth or make a sound immediately, that's what they do. That's how they learn, you know, and we're pack animals, and we notice the weak, we notice the variations. And I just know that they're watching so much, and it's so hard to forgive yourself for lapses in like whether you're short with them, or, you know, and, you know, or whether you say, why can't you just listen, or all these kind of things. Well, she's 6, you know, I mean, they're kids, and this is how they, you know, and they need boundaries, and then just also tiptoeing through this. And knowing the way I see my father now, knowing the way I see my brother as a father, and like how I really want to fit in there. But I think it all goes to legacy as well, with how the person I want to be and continue to be now, because I feel like there was a me all up until this point, you know? So I guess the question really is how we can make them see, you know, what we want them to see, or how to even begin, because everybody needs something different, you know, and it's just a matter of letting your child be themselves, which is really hard, and then starting to discern what they need. So when I hear that, I don't like the term making your child see you a certain way, because it feels forced, I think. That's what I mean, you know, the intentional fallacy. It's like their choice how they're going to see you. Exactly. And so all you can be is what you value is good. So like, to me, just being authentically me, you know, sometimes I'll cuss in front of Logan, and there's a part of me that's like, oh, don't do that. But it's like, that's me, man. I like tan my taint and take a photo of it and put it on Instagram. Like, I'm just me, you know? And I think allowing her to make her decisions on what I'm like, and my job is just to be authentic. Of course, you know, taking care of her, and, you know, trying to be as a good role model, but at the end of the day, I think what she'll appreciate and get the most out of is, oh, my dad, I didn't agree with everything that he, you know, he's kind of weird or whatever, but he was fucking authentic. He was just him. He was pure. And if that's what she takes away from me, I think that's what I would have wanted to take away from my parents. You know, it's just like,
love him or hate him, that's who he was. And so
I'm still figuring out what authentic is. Though.
Well, yeah, that's
you know,
yeah, exactly.
To me, it's authentic
sure.
to what an experience I had that I don't wish on my children to. I don't know. That's the thing I think for me now is like, what does this? Who am I now with all this? Because I knew who Nick was. I knew who when I was a runner all up through college, and then when that stopped, then I had to figure out who I was again, and then suddenly I'm an actor, and then. That's what I do now, but who am I?
So here's what's interesting. You not knowing, I think, is super powerful. So to me, you telling yourself, I'm in a stage of my life where I don't know is what's authentic. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think that gives her permission in life, both your children, to not know and be okay with that. Because dad was like that. And I really respected him, you know, when he was that way.
Yeah, I think Charlie said something earlier about enjoying the process. That kind of hit home with me as well, because it's like wherever you are in your life's journey, and you have these moments where you kind of reflect back on the past, and a lot of times whenever you do that, you're like, well, those are good times, you know, wow, those, you know, I really enjoyed those times. But then it's like if you actually like were able to rewind and go back into that spot, were you actually in that moment enjoying it and you feel in euphoria the way you're imagining it?
Yeah.
In the present. And I think that like if you actually stop and be like, okay, hey, look at where I am in this process of where I'm aspiring to go, and smiling at that in a way that's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's like it's going to change its difficulty, but like saying, hey, it is a process, and I'm going to choose to, you know, be proud of where I am in this process, because later on in life I'm going to look back and be like, wow, I went through that really tough shit and that was fucking great. Look who it made me today, you know. And I think that is something that is easily forgotten.
One thing I've noticed about Andy, and you guys may agree, you're extremely present, and you're one of the most positive, not in a fake way, but you're one of the most positive people that I know. And when you're down, you also admit that you're down, you know. So, but you're also hard to get a hold of. You're like a slippery fish, right? But when you're in front of someone, whether it's a friend or I noticed you with your son and also Malia. You're super, super present, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I actually put a lot of effort in that.
It seems like it comes naturally. It seems like it comes naturally how present you are. What is your question?
Are y'all gonna see that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Because
maybe we should. Maybe
I didn't even know there was one.
I didn't know either.
I actually have to forfeit my question, like a serious question, because I do have to go. Okay. I do have a wife that has therapy at 3, and
it's already passed.
Yeah, it's almost time for me to go.
Hey, one thing I noticed real quick before we go, we put a lot of weight on being good dads. I noticed, and I see that with Charlie and Nick more so than me. And I wonder if we put the same effort in being a good husband, what that would be like and what comes up in that. You know? I don't know.
No, that's a very valuable
because thought. I think what wives and mothers can feel when they have kids, it's all about being the super parent or super dad. They could also feel forgotten.
Sure.
You know?
But I think it's when they don't match up, because there's times when I'm feeling like I'm working at this relationship and I'm putting in the compliments and not empty, but meaning like genuine, but she's rocking and rolling and doing all the things we need to get done too, but she's in that mindset the way I've been too, but now I'm choosing to go, hey, and she's like, hey, but she's over here, you know. And that's still hard too, to not feel resentful of that and be like, well, here I am doing it, and I feel like it's not even being received.
Or reciprocated. Yeah, I get it. No.
Well, you know, this isn't about answers. I really appreciate you guys coming here. I know we're not going to see each other for another decade, so it was nice having some tea and making eye contact.
Freezing your ass off in your garage.
You're all like slamming beers or something.
I think when your gym opens, there'll be a great reason to go and work out. That'd
anytime.
Awesome. Yeah,
I'd love it.
Yeah,
he's like, first one's free, but you know where to come after that.
that actually would be a lot of fun if we went over to Charlie's
that would be
gym
amazing. I would love that.
Anytime.
Or you guys could come all over to Hollywood.
No, well, let's go to Charlie's gym.
Yeah.
Actually, totally. I would love to come over sometime.
Yeah, thank you for creating a dialogue, and just thank you for showing up as just dudes.
Yeah, thank you for setting it up.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. All right.
Sure.
Be well.